we'll move on to the youth movement here. And this will be a little bit more direct. Really want to know what a successful season looks like for some of our key young players. So first one, what's a successful season look like for Marco Rossi?
I would say, considering last season, I think he had like 1 point in 19 games. Like, I could see him like even in like the 10, 15 goal range. I think for me would be good, and do like the 50 points, or, I mean, ideally you'd say, 60 to 70 points and 25 goals. But I think if you're starting realistically, get some confidence and mojo going offensively, get the 15 goals, 10, 15 goals. I mean, I think Duhaime scored 9 and 50 something last year, and if Marco Rossi is playing power play, he'll get some more chances too. So I think he would be an effective season for him.
And if he plays the entire season on the third line, is that cool, or do you need to see him get some spot starts in the top 6?
If he plays all season, there means the whole team will be pretty much healthy, right?
Yeah.
If that means the Boldy, Eck, and Johansson line is as good as it was last year, and that'll mean that the no issues with Hartman or Zuccarello or more support Kaprizov injury wise. So I think the Wild would take that. I think there are chances maybe he'll get some shifts with those guys, but I think third line I'm sure he wants to play up more in top 6, but if he plays third line or mixed second line sometimes, I think he'll be good enough for him to be effective in the NHL.
So to translate for everyone, calm down if Rossi's playing on the third line. It's going to be okay.
He's going to be playing the third line, so they have no choice but to watch that for sure.
All right. What's a successful season look like for Matt Boldy?
I mean, I think another 30-goal season is not out of the question. I think him playing with that line all year long with Johansson and Eck would be he showed the capability of being one of the better, more dynamic, wingers in the conference last year, and he was one of the hottest players on the stretch that really kind of helped carry the group when they're going that long run. So I think continuing that kind of stat line, and also showing like Bill Guerin wanted him in the playoffs, be tougher in the heart in like those dirty areas, and using that size that he has to his advantage, preparing him more for the playoffs. I think any evaluation of Matt Boldy would have to include what happens in the playoffs, or focus on that, because I think we know he's a dynamic player, well worth, I think, the $7 million he makes a year. But I think anytime you evaluate him would be the playoff specific. So if he scores 30 goals and there's no points, or he doesn't play well in the playoffs, and I think people probably look at that as a more disappointing finish to him.
Very fair. All right. What's a successful season look like for Brock Faber?
I think playing most, if not all, the year in the top 4 with Brodin. And I think that's what he'll get the chance to do, and there'll probably be some growing pains with that. And when Spurgeon is healthy, they can always put Spurgeon with Brodin and balance that out. But I think there will be less about point totals for Brock Faber, since while he wants to get more involved offensively, and he's shown that in camp, that's not really what they're depending on him for. But if he can show that he can be that defenseman in a shutdown role and not be protected and kind of fit with Brodin, I think for the long-term future of the Wild, that'd be hugely important.
And please just say it for the people listening. Does it matter how many points he puts up this year?
No, not at all.
Thank you. We need people to hear that, because we know in the first week or two, it's going to be, 0 points for him. What's he doing? But yes, couldn't agree more on that sentiment. On the flip side, not at all the case here for the last one I got to ask about. And this one holds a special place in my heart. What's a successful season look like for Calen Addison?
I think reestablish himself as a regular NHL player, and he won't have to be flashy. Like, obviously he'll be at points because he's in theory on the top power play, but for a guy who had that season last year where he spent a lot of the second half scratched, if he can establish himself in the defensive zone, having some characteristics like Jared Spurgeon, kind of showing that hockey sense doing that. If they don't have to dip into the well of scratching him and then putting Goligoski with Merrill, or worrying about trying to bring somebody up from from Iowa to play there because not really many NHL ready defensemen there at this point. So I think a successful season for Calen Addison is playing a regular role in the NHL and being an effective top power play kind of quarterback in the respect. Doesn't have to score like 40, 50 points. Doesn't have to be this, flashy player. Just has to be consistent, earn the trust of coaches, and show he can be part of, well, for him and the team, show he's part of the future beyond this year.
Yeah, I mean, play the entire season would be a great start. No press box. Give me an over-under for power play points for him if he sticks with the unit all year.
It's a tough one. How many did he have last year in the short time?
Last year, I want to say he was in the teens, but
yeah,
I would be lying if I said I knew.
I think power play points, like I think if you do like 20 plus 25, like not every power play he'll be a factor on that he'll get points for, right? If it's he has the one pass that leads to Kirill and then everything else. So I think, like I said, the points will matter, of course, more so for him than maybe Brock Faber as far as evaluation. But I don't think if he gets, let's say he gets 20 to 23 power play points would be really good. And then he's able to be relied upon and play more minutes in 5-on-5 situation.
And I mean, context for everyone. Last year, it was like low 30s was the highest power play point total for a defenseman. So if he's in the 20s, like we should be saying thank you very much, Calen Addison.
Yeah, even if the high teens or low 20s, like, if the power play will be working pretty well, if that happens.